to talk about a few different couples from this last episode of Life After Lockup. First, starting off with Kim and Joey. Another week has officially gone by. The WeTV has dragged out this DNA test storyline. I was hoping they'd get to it this week, but they didn't really touch on it at all. So hopefully we see it next week. I really hope they're not going to drag the DNA test out until the season finale. They only have like 4 or 5 episodes left of this season, so they better get to it. And we end up seeing Kim take Joey out to eat, and they're sitting there talking, and Kimberly's talking about how she went wedding dress shopping and how she saw her cousin, and they talked about what happened at the engagement party, and everything's fine. And then Kim was like, yeah, also, by the way, I have something that I need to tell you. I know I told you honesty is the best policy with our relationship, but I haven't been fully honest with you. You know I got you all excited with this engagement party and with this wedding dress shopping, thinking we're about to get married real soon, but that's probably not gonna happen because I'm not even divorced yet. And Joey could not believe what he was hearing. Joey was completely annoyed and caught off guard by this news that Kim shared with him. And he didn't know what to say. He's like, look, you really thought that you could just sit around, not do anything to get divorced, and somebody's just gonna magically grant you the divorce. And Kim was like, yeah. And here she is talking about how she's having money issues, yet she's about to go through a divorce because they're pretty expensive. So I don't know if right now is the best time to be moving into another house when she's gonna have to spend this money to get divorced if she's still planning to get married soon like she's hoping. But I mean, even if she does start the divorce process, that's not immediate. That's going to take time too. And Joey just threw his hands up. He wanted to go outside and have him a little cigarette. And he said that he feels like he cannot trust Kimberly at all. And here they are talking about getting married, yet both of them have admitted that they can't really trust each other. I saw an interview that Joey and Kim did the other day, and Joey acts like everybody's gonna hate him even more once they see how the rest of his season plays out. So I'm very curious to see what he's talking about there. Now let's talk about Bianca and Daniel. Daniel sat down with Bianca. Bianca had her makeup looking all cute, and they're talking, and Daniel wanted to get to the bottom of some of the things that his cousin told him. So first he wanted to know if Bianca really has a drinking problem. And Bianca's like, I like to drink, but that shouldn't be an issue because it's not like I do it in excess. But then she turned around and denied telling Daniel's cousin that she had a drinking problem. She's like, well, he was drinking a lot too, just pretty much suggesting that the cousin's just pulling this out of his ass. And then Daniel was like, well, why are you bringing up our sex life and telling him that I don't know where the G-spot is or I don't know how to do any foreplay? And Bianca was like, it shouldn't matter because I told you that to your face. But still, you shouldn't be talking to his family about stuff like that, especially his male cousin at that, while you're out drinking with him one-on-one and smiling more with him than you seem to do around Daniel. Obviously, when you tell the cousin stuff like that, he's suddenly going to get a mental image of that. And you don't need to be doing all that with the cousin. And Daniel was just trying to get Bianca to see that and take a little bit of accountability. But this girl refused to say that she did anything wrong at all. She's just acting like the cousin's a big fat liar and just being overdramatic. And then she was like starting to notice that Daniel was getting pretty upset by the sound of his voice. And she's like, wow, you're really pissed off, aren't you? Daniel was like, of course. And she's like, well, I really need you to make some changes in the bedroom. Just straight up putting him on blast on national TV about how much he sucks in bed. And she's gonna make sure she reminds us every single episode about that and about this damn coffee that she can't let go. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to do more than just kiss me and stick it in. You gotta be romantic. She said that he wasn't really trying to make it feel good for her. He was just being overly aggressive, and she didn't like that. And Daniel was like, well, I'm sorry, I've been around men all these years, so that's probably why. And it's probably just because the dude does not have very much experience in the bedroom department, it sounds like. He admitted that even before, he's been locked up for the past 5 years, and even before he was locked up, he said that he had not had sex 6 years before he was locked up. So if he was locked up for 5 years, that means it's been like over 11 years since this dude last got laid. So that means he was like a teenager when he got laid last, and that's probably when he was losing his virginity. Or he probably only had like a few partners at that time. And hooking up your first few times as a teenager is nothing compared to like if you're in long-term relationships or married and have a lot of experience as an adult. He hasn't really been able to get that kind of feedback from a girl, especially when you're a young teenager. It's not like you're going to give a guy a full list of everything you're doing wrong like what Bianca's doing. I mean, maybe he did have someone. It sounds like he really didn't have that, so he just doesn't know what he's doing. This man's used to his hand, like I've been saying, so it's quite an adjustment for him. And I could tell that this man doesn't really have much sexual experience when he compared in the next episode Bianca's private parts to spaghetti. She's like, you don't even know where the G-spot is. And he's like, well, it just feels like spaghetti down there. I've never heard freaking somebody's coochie compared to spaghetti. That is definitely a first here. I'm sorry, I think I would feel some type of way if my man described my private parts as feeling like spaghetti. Like, what is that supposed to even mean? And then they decide to hang out, and they're going through some of the like stuff that Daniel brought home from prison, like his box with his pictures, all his stuff he had in his cell, and they're just reminiscing on like old letters and pictures that Bianca sent him. And then Bianca was like, I'm bored, I want to get some fresh air and show you the area, so let's go on a little walk. Daniel agrees. They go on the walk, and Daniel decided to bring the promise ring and hide it in his pocket just in case they have like a little romantic moment and he can give it to her. And so they go on this walk, and not only do I think that Daniel's not very advanced in the sexual department, like in the bedroom, I don't think he's very advanced on like, just being a boyfriend or has a lot of experience with that. It seems like Bianca is one of his first like few serious relationships. That's just what it's giving, because he didn't know how to hold her hand, and she had to stop him and say, look, it is literally hurting me the way you're holding my hand. And Daniel got mad about that. Then I don't agree with him this time, because Bianca was like, I just told you that you're hurting me. And he's like, stop yelling at me, stop cussing at me. And she was cussing at him, but she was not yelling at him. And he started overreacting a little bit, and he said that he was on edge because he's not used to just walking and roaming in the free world and being able to just walk without a fence with barbed wire cutting you off and armed guards. And he said that it's too much for him. He's like overstimulated, it seems like. And Bianca is not very understanding about this at all. I just don't know if she has the emotional maturity to handle someone like Daniel. Like, Daniel's freaking out and overwhelmed, and he just needed space at the time, but instead Bianca's all in his face begging for a hug. And it's always about Bianca, making sure that Bianca feels good in that moment, reassured, and the attention's on her. When in reality, she should be trying to do what she can to make sure that he's okay. And then when she does, she's all in his face and overwhelming him, and he can't take it. And that just makes him even more frustrated, to the point where he is yelling, throwing his hands up, and says that he can't take it anymore and he just wants to go home. They just gotta learn each other more and figure each other out. Someone made a good point. They're like, damn, it seems like the only time they get along is when they're banging in the bedroom. But even then, it seems like they're not getting along too well then, because Bianca says she's not satisfied. He's not hitting the right spots. And he says that it just feels like spaghetti. Like, I get Bianca's only 23 years old. And when I was 23, I was one of those people where I thought I knew it all. But now looking back, I didn't know crap. But also at the same time, Daniel's 31 years old, and he knows that Bianca doesn't have a lot of experience or emotional intelligence yet. And he knows better, and he still continues to be with her. So at the end of the day, that is on him. But I'm starting to feel like some of their drama might just be for the cameras, because they're still going strong. Or maybe, Daniel finally found the G-spot. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.